Good evening. You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper.
And I'm Carolyn Nelson.
And, folks, I'm back. But before we start the program or talk about anything that's been going on here, I want to tell you that I'm going to take it easy tonight. My voice is still not normal, so I've been told not to strain it, and I'm not going to. So right off the bat, let's go to Phoenix and get the metal report from Gene Miller.
Well, welcome, Mr. Cooper, to the land of the living.
Thank you, Gene.
Have you back.
Good to hear from you again.
It's been a wild few days on the metal and the stock market here with a Dow dropping 100 points last Friday, and it rebounded some. Gold had a high today of 384.80, a low of 378.80 to close at 378.90, down $7.70. Silver had a high of 538 and a low of 523. Close at 523, down 18 cents for the day. The Dow had a high of 39.10, a low of 38.59, close at 39.06, up 35 points from the last previous close. And like I said, it's just been up and down and every which way but sideways. Some information that I got, I read a lot of different articles. Here's just a couple quotes from an article called The Survival Report. Stock market bust in $500 gold. This is evidence abounds for a topping off of greatly overpriced stock market. In my experience, markets both up and down in a particular direction longer than seems rational. But with the changes in direction for interest rates, the utility average, commodity prices, and an advanced decline ratio, it appears that the boom in the financial market is soon coming to an end. Gold is indeed in a bull market, and good times lie ahead for the gold bugs of the world. From Ari McMasters in the Reaper, says the U.S. stock market is in a blow-off. While I'm looking for a top by no later than March 10th, there are an increasing number of quality analysts expecting a stock market top in late January or February. Fed policies may turn negative, which would be bearish for stocks. Dow utilities have dropped to 220. Technical indicators such as advanced decline ratios are topping. Sentiment has become excessively bullish. One other thing that I got, and I thought this was very interesting because this is coming from a secular newspaper, very much, with the mainline thing, but it says Federal Reserve. In fact, it came from the Orlando Sentinel, from a writer by the name of Charlie Reese, and I take my hat off to him for writing this. It says, there is, believe it or not, a move in Congress to make some slight reforms to the Federal Reserve System. Alan Greenspan, the chairman of the central bank, naturally is predicting the direst economic consequences if Congress dares meddle with the Federal Reserve. Of course, the nation has suffered dire economic consequences as a result of the Federal Reserve since the day it was created. That's what central banks do. Make a few insiders rich, create dire economic consequences for everyone else. You should write Representative Harry Gonzalez, chairman of the House Banking Committee, and thank him for being honest. What, you might ask, is the Federal Reserve? Well, it is the crown jewel of the Eastern establishment, a carbon copy with minor cosmetic changes of the central banks of Europe, which ripped off people long before a foolish Congress imposed one on us in 1913. While those who designed the Fed, principally the henchmen of the Rockefellers and the Morgans, were careful to make it complicated lest people figure it out how they were being taken to the cleaners, the guts of the engine are fairly simple to understand. The Constitution authorizes Congress to coin money and set its value. Congress could, if it wished, issue money on the good faith and credit of the United States government. That's what Abraham Lincoln did when he found out how much interest the banks wanted to charge the government for loans to finance the Civil War. The trouble with governments issuing its own money from a banker's point of view is they can't make any money on the deal. Consequently, they prefer to dupe or bribe governments into creating a central bank. and that's what the Federal Reserve is. It's a central bank for the government and a bank for the banks. Consequently, it's the Fed, not the government, which issues money. The bills in your wallet are Federal Reserve notes. Instead of the government issuing its own money, interest-free, it borrows at an interest from the central banks. Well, you might think that's fair. If the government borrows money from the central bank, it ought to pay interest. But you don't know where the central bank gets the money. It lends to the government. It creates it out of thin air with the stroke of computer key. How can the Fed create money out of nothing and charge interest for it? Because Congress gave it the power. In short, the government, instead of creating its own money, interest-free, authorizes the central bank to create money and then lend it to the government at interest. As Thomas Edison once pointed out, this is stupid. If the government can issue a bond backed by its faith and credit, it can also issue a dollar bill. The Fed, by the way, is privately owned. It is not a government agency. There are people appointed by the president to long-term and long and staggered terms. The other 5 members are presidents of regional reserve banks whose stock is owned by banks and whose officers are chosen by banks. The General Accounting Office cannot even audit the Federal Reserve. The board meetings are closed to the public. That's 2 of the things that Gonzales wants to modify. It's the central bank, however, that determines if money is short or loose, whether we have inflation or deflation, high interest rates or low interest rates. History shows these decisions are made not for the benefit of people, but for the benefit of banking and financial insiders who created the system. In short, the whole scheme is a ripoff of the American people. And I guess I have only one thing to say, Bill, tonight. For those of you that are supporting number one, the stock market, and supporting the Federal Reserve System, are you nuts?
Yeah, they're helping to destroy this country.
Exactly.
They've actually committed the biggest heist in the history of the world. They've literally stolen this nation right out from under us, which you'll be hearing the points in law and the executive orders that made it happen on this program during the next few weeks.
Exactly. Folks, it's time. You've got to wake up. You've got to see what's going on. You've got to quit kidding yourself and thinking everything's going to be just fine because, hey, I wish it was. I really wish it was, having a brand new son and whatnot. I no more want chaos in our country or in the economy no more than I want my house to catch on fire. But I keep fire insurance, and I keep myself, I guess, protected by pulling out of this worldly system and putting myself into something that I know is going to hold its value, that's real, and that's gold and silver. Folks, give us a call here at Swiss America, 1-800-289-2646. We have some free literature. We got some news articles, some papers and on the right to own gold, just some different newsletters and whatnot. We'll be glad to get it out to you free of charge and educate you on how to do something. But then once you get educated, and there's hundreds of people that have called and gotten material and have done nothing. Do something. I mean, do something, even if it's a little bit.
It's the sheeple factor.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Quit being sheeple, quit being led to slaughter, and wake up and start doing something for yourself and for your family. If not for yourself, think of your family and get yourself protected. Again, that number is 1-800-289-2646. When you call, and if you call in at night on the answering machine, let us know that you came from William Cooper's program, because you do get experiential treatment. And also make sure that you leave your address and your phone number so that we can get back to you, because we've got a number of different things we'd like to talk to you about and send you out material. So help us out by doing that, and we'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Gene. And we'll get into the meat of the program now, folks. Remember, call 1-800-289-2646. That's 1-800-289-2646. Mention my name, William Cooper. Thank them for sponsoring the Hour of the Time, and make sure you ask for all the literature and all the good stuff that you're entitled to as a listener of this broadcast. One of my predictions just came true the other day, ladies and gentlemen. Remember when I told you that I heard Alan Greenspan giving testimony to Congress several months ago, in which he said that he would not be able to hold back rampant inflation for very much longer. I then said that, hey, if it comes from the horse's mouth, you better get ready for it. Rampant inflation is coming. I also told you that when this happened, interest rates would go up and the stock market would go down. So, once again, I was right. I do not like being right, but anybody can make these predictions if you got half a brain and you pay attention to what's going on in the world. Now, remember, folks, they're going to blame this inflation on other than what it really is. The inflation will be created by the Federal Reserve. Inflation is the product of only one thing. One thing, folks. Printing extra money. Money way beyond the total of the gross national product, putting it into circulation, and making credit readily available to large amounts of people. That's where inflation comes from. So this is going to be a manipulated inflation. The purpose of it will be to make you poorer. It will be to make you poorer. Don't fall for the scam of whatever they're going to blame it on. Whatever they blame it on, it's a lie. Unless they tell you that it's a direct cause of making credit easily available, money in the form of credit easily available to just about anybody that wants it, or printing vast amounts of $100 bills and floating them out on the unsuspecting economy, then you know that they're lying, because that's what really causes it. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're going to have open phones tonight. We're going to talk about what you've been hearing for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Good evening. You're on the air.
How you doing, Bill? I read your book a few years ago, Behold the Pale Horse, and it just blew my mind. I've been a fan of yours ever since then. When you're talking about the militias, state militias, what type of weapons would be the most convenient to have, and how does one go about to start a militia?
Well, you have to remember that right now they're talking about making lead sinkers illegal because the fish get lead poisoning. Now, that's just the first step. They intend to outlaw lead. They intend to outlaw ammunition. I imagine primers will become scarce. They're eventually going to outlaw and confiscate weapons. So whatever weapons you should have clean. In other words, there should be nothing attached to them that says that they belong to you. That is totally 100% constitutional, because the Constitutional said that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, which means any restriction, any law, anything governing your right to have a weapon is unconstitutional. Absolutely 100% unconstitutional. You should have whatever weapons the enemy has, because there might come a day when the only ammunition or the only resupply of weapons or ammunition has to come from them. So you should not have a weapon which carries a round of ammunition that the enemy does not use.
Okay. And last question, as far as the gold, having gold, at what point do you think people should exchange their gold for things like tools and farm equipment and...
I wouldn't use the gold for anything unless I absolutely had to. In other words, if I had anything else to barter with or trade or use, I would use that. Gold I would only use as a absolutely last resort, and only when I had to, because when it runs out, you've got nothing left.
Okay, Bill, thanks. When is your next book coming out? You have one on the burner?
Yeah, I'm working on it now. In fact, while I was sick, I was busy. We've installed new computers. We got a new scanner. The reason we had the Christmas sale is we needed a lot of equipment and we didn't have the money. We never have any money around here. Thanks to all of you who took advantage of that sale, we made enough money to buy just about every piece of equipment that we needed, and now we're poor again. But it's going to expedite the book. It's going to expedite the production of videotapes from now on. It's going to expedite publishing the documents that we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, and all kinds of things. I want to thank everybody who participated in that sale. Some of you said that we terminated the ability to get new membership in CAGI to make more money during the sale. That's not true, folks. If you've noticed, you still cannot get a membership in CAGI, and you won't be able to for some time. The reason for that sale is because we needed money to do things that we had to do with equipment that we did not have. So all of you who helped us out and got some stuff that you've been wanting to get for a long time and couldn't because the price was out of your reach, We all thank you here, and you're going to see the results of that pretty soon.
Bill, stay well, and may the force be with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, good evening, Bill. First, I certainly appreciate the commercials. It's nice to have the lighter touch.
Well, I collect a few things. I collect old commercials, and I collect different versions of Amazing Grace. And
I'll be waiting to hear the Wheaties breakfast of champions. Bill, what I wanted to comment on, I noticed in news releases this week pertaining to this interest rate rise, and tell me if I'm incorrect on this. What I've noticed creeping in here is the expression central bank. Now, I always thought of central banks as existing in other countries, but to the best of my knowledge, I don't recall reference being made to our Fed Reserve as the central bank. Am I right or wrong on that, Bill?
No, you're right. And the United States has actually had 3 central banks in its history. The 2 previous ones were put out of business by presidents who knew what they really meant for the country. And the 3rd central bank, of course, is the Federal Reserve.
Right.
But nobody's ever called it a central bank until now. And
this is my point, Bill. It's creeping into, I heard it 3 times over the weekend on news releases on radio. And I assume the announcers were reading, word for word what was in the copy. And even Gene Miller tonight referred to it as the central bank. And I just want to point out that this is creeping into our vocabulary.
Yes, it is, absolutely, and they're preparing the public for a lot of things.
Yeah.
We're already a part of a one-world government.
Right, that's what I pointed out to my wife. This is like so many other things, gradually creeping in. And I just wanted to call you and mention that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other things that they're going to be throwing out.
Oh, certainly.
And remember, they're always looking for the reaction of the public. If the public reacts adversely, then they might delay it a little longer.
Nobody's going to react to that, Bill, as well as I do. They're all sheeple.
Well, you're absolutely correct. One thing we've been finding out.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, we're in for some rough times ahead, and all of those of you out there who don't understand that or believe it, I wish there was some way that I could bring it home to you. I've been trying to make you angry so you'd go out and try to prove me wrong. I've been trying to reach out and sort of slap you upside the head with a verbal 2x4. I've tried just about everything that I can try. I tried for a long time being nice and pleading, and I don't really know what else to do. I'm at a loss. But I'm going to keep on pumping. I'm going to keep on trying because somehow we have to save what's precious to us. And many of us don't even realize what we have until it's gone. And that's a shame. Many people don't understand how precious their Constitution and their Bill of Rights are. They don't understand yet that we've lost them. If you've been reading the newspaper, you know that the Bill of Rights literally don't exist, or they wouldn't be able to do many of the things that they're doing that you read about every day and hear about on the 6 o'clock news. As Dan Rather, professing to be a loyal American, sits there and tells you this stuff with a straight face without any comment whatsoever. Good evening. You're on the air.
How you doing, Bill?
Oh, I'm much better, thank you.
Okay. My question is that many of the people that have been talking about the New World Order say that they plan to bring it in by the year 2000. Now, my question is there a discrepancy between the year 2000 and the year 2001? Because I know you've talked about the movie and its significance.
Well, let me put it this way. Their timetable is 2000. 2001 was a message to the brotherhood, really. It wasn't meant for the profane or for the ordinary person, and I don't know any ordinary person who hasn't studied the mysteries who ever understood that movie. It was a message that the world that they wanted is on the horizon. And I don't think that they're going to bring it into reality by the year 2000, and I don't think that they believe that they are. I think they're trying to bring it as close to the year 2000 as they can, but there's going to be obstacles cropping up all over the place, and I don't think it's going to be a reality, if it even is a reality, until sometime after the year 2000. And the exact date, I don't know.
You're saying the timetable's not set in concrete, it can change.
Oh, no, that's why they've been so successful throughout the centuries, is their plan is resilient. In other words, when they run up against a wall, their plan is very acceptable to change. You know, it's not set in stone at any one time ever. It's a whole bunch of people who believe in this, working tirelessly toward that end, even though many of them throughout history have known that they would never see the results of their work.
Nice. All right, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling. Let me see. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hey, Bill, this is Mike calling out of Charlotte.
Hi, Mike, how are you?
Good. Hope you start feeling better, man. We need you out there.
Well, I'm here.
I hear you. In your book on Pale Horse, you talked about the Galileo spaceship up around Jupiter.
Yes.
Do you think there's any significance to the comet impact supposedly this July?
Oh, well, of course. That's very convenient. I've talked to many professional astronomers who tell me that there's no way that they could have seen a comet that far out or known where it was going to impact or even if it would come close to something in the solar system. So they're setting us up. So if their plan works, and if they do ignite Jupiter, they had to do something, since I was the only one in the world that revealed what they were doing and what that space probe was really for. But since I revealed it, a lot of people have been asking questions. So this is just a scenario so they can blame it on something else.
Right.
And but you know, they don't even know if it's really going to work, and neither do I. Nobody's ever done it before.
Yeah, but you think they're going to try, huh?
They're going to try, yes.
Well, we'll keep on the lookout for them. All right, Bill. Thanks a lot. Keep up good work.
You're welcome. Thanks
for
calling. You know, I'm really happy to be back here at this microphone. I missed it. I've been listening to shortwave and working. I've got a lot of work done, I'll tell you that, during the hours that I would have been doing this or preparing for shows. So it set me free to get a lot accomplished that I would not have accomplished otherwise. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Bill? I really appreciate your program. You kind of really woken me up a lot.
Wonderful. That's the whole goal.
I was kind of reading scripture the other day, and I kind of found it just reminded me of you so much. And it says this: for those who know their God will display strength and take action, and those who have insight among the people will give understanding to many. Yet they will fall by the sword and by the flame and by captivity and plunder for many days. But I read that scripture and I thought of you, and I think. We need to wake up and take action. You know, the Word says it right there. And I just appreciate what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you very much. And I'm certainly happy that you're waking up and waking others up.
I am. And some people are so blind to it, they don't even care. You know, you tell them, and I got proof. I've been doing research and stuff. I've been listening to you for like 3 weeks. And
so you've
amazing. It's you woke me up.
Wonderful.
And I appreciate it, and I believe God's with you.
Thank you.
You know? Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back after this very short pause. Well, that didn't take long, did it? I think we've got somebody here that called during the break. Good evening. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mike, this is Mike in Michigan.
Hello, Mike.
Mr. Cooper, I monitored your broadcast on 28 February, or January, and I hope you don't mind, I taped it about the militia. Is it okay?
Well, I hope everybody's taping it. And for those that don't tape it, I hope you order tapes from us.
Send it all over the place. I've got a cousin in Alaska, and anyway, the word has gotten out. And I went to the Marine Corps League, and I've been going there and just dropping off information. And just for people's information, there have been people coming into various fraternal organizations like the VFW, American Legion, Marine Corps League, and questioning their attitude or their opinions about certain events and so forth. And they're almost starting to get paranoid about some of these people visiting them.
Well, they better get paranoid, and they better straighten up their act, because real patriots in this country are getting tired of the phony patriots and the phony patriot organizations. These VFW and all of these things, they just a focus where people can join and go, and they think that they're being represented, but they're not. And these patriot organizations, or what they call themselves patriot organizations, are not addressing the correct issues. They are not calling the traitors to the carpet like they should be. They're not helping to protect American freedoms. They've stood by doing nothing while the Constitution was ripped right out from under us and we were made a vassal state of the United Nations. And, they better start worrying, because one of these days a militia unit's liable to walk in there and clean house.
Yes, sir. And when I go there, and to this particular one, the Marine Corps League here, they've never been there. Well, they've been there, but you had to push a button to get in the door, but I didn't know that. And I've been dropping off your tapes and so forth. I mean, I hope you don't, like I said, of your program and other people, Mark from Michigan and so forth. And yes, this weekend they said, they let me in. Somebody showed me how to get in. And I brought that tape about how to form the militia on
Wonderful.
the 8th of February, of January, doggone it. And they're all concerned. I guess all this information I've given them is stirred up a mess,
Good.
And they're very concerned about what they should do. They know everything is wrong. I talked to the commander of that particular post, and they're all very concerned, and they wanted to know what to do, and I gave him your tape, of that broadcast of what a legal militia is. And I says, just listen to that. And he said he's going to listen to it. He's going to, when they have their meeting, when they're all gathered together, and then they will go about it. But they've been concerned about everybody's concerned. A friend of mine went to Lima, Ohio this weekend. He says people are buying ammunition like you can't believe.
That's right.
And guns and everything else because they know what is happening.
That's right. These traders in our country are in for a big awakening and a big surprise. They think we're going to lay down and take this, and we're not.
No way. And one of the things that...
you got to bring it to a close real quick because you've been on here a lot longer than you should be.
Well, I'm sorry. But, hey, thank you very much for being on there. I just want to back you up and let you know what's going on in this area of the world.
You're welcome. Appreciate it. Thank you for calling.
You bet.
Try to keep your calls short, folks. I'm going to try to get as many people on as possible. There's always a lot of people trying to call, and, an hour goes by short. But don't forget, we've got another program later tonight at 10 p.m. Mountain, 9 Pacific, 11 Central, and midnight Eastern Standard Time. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello. How you doing, Bill?
Much better. Thank you. Turn your radio off now, quick.
Couple questions.
Whoa, you almost blew my eardrum out.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This timetable for this rampant inflation, do you have anything more specific, or you think it's going to start in a couple weeks, couple months?
What difference does it make? You heard it right out of the mouth of the man who controls the money, didn't you?
Well, my shortwave.
I'm talking about
I don't get it as clear right now.
I'm talking about Greenspan, and he didn't say it on shortwave. He said it on the 6 o'clock news with Dan Rather.
Oh, I didn't hear that. You're talking about Greenspan? You mean what he proposed?
What he said. He said months ago, I can no longer hold back rampant inflation. He said that in front of Congress. When he said that, I made my predictions. Just now, just a few days ago, when they raised the interest rates, he said again, we're raising the interest rates because inflation is coming. And we're trying to hold it back. Well,
I'll tell you one thing, Bill, that they're really BSing on this issue because you go to places where they're selling cars, you got to wait for the car to come in. You go try to get a part to try to build something in your house, you got to wait for the parts to come in. Nothing's out there. I think the shelves are getting bare right now as far as hardware.
Hey, I've been warning people for years. I hope that somebody's finally beginning to understand that stuff.
And I'm looking around some of these, like these Walmarts where they sell food supposedly at a decent price. Things the same price now. Nothing's really that low.
Yeah, let me tell you how sheeple the sheeple really are. They'll be in a nice small town. They've got it made. They live in the freest, best nation in the world with the greatest opportunities. They've got all their people are working. They got their small businesses. They got their little main street. Everybody goes down and frequents the businesses. And then Walmart moves in and chops prices down to bare minimum. Nobody ever saw prices like that before. And so they all leave their small businesses and go to Walmart. And one by one, all the small businesses go out of business until the town is in trouble because there's no business and nobody has any work unless you're working at Walmart. And guess what happens? As soon as those small businesses are out of business, Walmart jacks its prices right back up to the same price that those small businesses were charging. And when are you stupid, ignorant people going to wake up and stop allowing this to happen to you? You see, nothing has happened to us that we didn't cause.
That's true. 2 questions, I'll get off then. I've got your book, The Pale Horse, Behold the Pale Horse. I'd like to get some more information, some sources, some leads to verify the accusation you make on John Paul II, and also on the earthquake in Los Angeles. Was that a nuclear bomb?
How would I know?
Well, they said that the energy was released vertically, and they had a woman on the ABC News who was interviewed just for a short soundbite for the radio.
But let me break in here. All that's speculation. If you can find some proof or you have any proof, we'd like to see it. Otherwise, we don't like to speculate on this program.
But have you ever heard of vertical release of energy?
Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, if the fault slipped vertically.
Okay, and John Paul II, I read that he said that he sold gas, nerve gas or whatever.
According to our sources, before I wrote the book, yes, he worked for a company in Poland that was owned by oh gosh, now my mind is going blank. Was owned by the large chemical company that did business with Germany, and that he was actually selling cyanide gas to the concentration camps. Now, this is from a source. Remember, you can't always verify everything. We did check with the records in Germany, and he did work for the chemical company, and he did work as a salesman for a time.
I could add also that a caller said that she found the biography of this man at the library and found some of the statements in it.
Oh, did you have the title of that biography by any chance?
Not sitting right here, no.
Was this somebody that called, Carol?
Called in, yeah.
Carolyn takes all the calls, so I very rarely get to hear that kind of stuff.
A few months ago.
Okay, well, thanks for your time tonight, Paul.
Thank you for calling. 602-333-2174. If you notice, folks, the Pope is going right along with the New World Order. In fact, he's calling for it. The only difference between him and the other people calling for the New World Order is he's the one who wants to sit upon the throne of the world. Good luck, Popey. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes, hi. I have 2 questions for you. One, I'd like to hear more about the Jupiter thing, whatever's going on with that, and also your interpretation of what the Bible teaches on the rapture.
No rapture.
Okay. Now, what does it say about that? I mean,
doesn't say anything. The whole rapture thing was invented by a woman in England back around 1854.
Okay. So where's this thing where they're saying twinkling of an eye and all that?
Don't you understand how this works? If they can totally neutralize the Christian population, they'll have no resistance to the New World Order. So they're telling them, hey, you don't have to worry about worldly things. You don't have to worry about any of this. It's not going to bother you, because if you're true to the book, you're going to be raptured. And I'm telling you all, you're going to be right here with me going through the same suffering, pain, and heartaches, and you're going to watch your family go through it and your children go through it that anybody else is going through, and you ain't going no place.
Okay. Now, you're saying that this lady that created this whole rapture thing, is there information on this?
Oh, yeah.
Look up?
Yeah.
Where do we start about?
Well, you start in your library. And just like I told Paul when he called me, go find it.
Okay. Now, what about this Jupiter thing?
Well, we've had several programs on that, and it's in my book. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because we get new listeners, and they always want to hear the same thing over and over again. And if we do that, then we don't get to talk about anything else. But basically, what you need to do is write NASA or call NASA, tell them you want all the information they have on the Galileo space probe.
Okay, great.
That's going to Jupiter.
Thanks.
You'll find it's carrying 49.7 pounds of plutonium. It's arrayed in the spacecraft with two banks opposite each other with a vacuum in the middle. When it plunges into the center of Jupiter, the immense pressure that it encounters will cause these two banks to implode into each other. And what happens when plutonium is imploded into each other in that manner?
Okay. I don't know.
It's called an atomic bomb.
Okay.
And what is Jupiter?
I don't know.
Hey, this is basic stuff. Jupiter
Oh,
is...
you mean the planet? Oh, yeah.
What did you think I was talking about?
I know, but I mean, what do you mean when it's Jupiter? It's a planet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what's it made up of?
I don't know.
Gases.
Okay.
The same gases that make up the sun. It's a baby star. It just hasn't been lit off.
Okay, so what are they going to... That's going to destroy everything.
Well, I don't know if it will or not. Nobody knows. Nobody even knows if it'll work.
If it works, we may have no starlight anymore in 6 years' time.
The moon will disappear from the sky, and there will be no more stars forever, and that will fulfill a prophecy of Daniel.
Okay, well, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
For your program.
Good night. Thank you for calling. Let me see here. What do we have? I think we got a whole bunch of stuff over here, but we're not going to talk about that tonight. That's for my daughter Pooh and all the other children out there who might be listening. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill. This is Dave in Albuquerque.
Hi, Dave.
How's it going?
Good. We could have dinner later if you wanted to drive over.
Yeah, it's not too far, about a 9-hour drive.
Oh?
It's only about a 9-hour drive.
It's only about 3 hours, my friend.
Albuquerque to... Oh, I'm not sure where Sholo is. I kind of thought you were near Phoenix.
Well, you don't take 40. You just come straight over the mountains.
Oh, great. Well, someday I'll do that. I'd like to meet you. Was that company IG Farben?
IG Farben, exactly. That's who I was trying to remember.
Yeah. You know, I just have a comment in this. One thing with this whole New World Order, it seems to me sometimes that these guys already have us right where they want us. And if they try to impose any more control on us, they're going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg, because if they put us all in chains, we're not going to be productive. We're not going to be cranking out the big bucks and the goodies for them to enjoy.
Yeah, the sheeple will. They'll give them football games and big screen television and make it interactive so they can vote and participate in polls, and they'll cut their workday down to 4 hours a day and 4 days a week, and they'll have the great circuses and things like the Luxor Hotel in Vegas that they can go to. They'll have to schedule it 4 years in advance, but you know, they won't have any freedoms. They won't be able to talk about what they want to talk about, and all the books that are no-nos to the New World Order will disappear off the shelves. And you know, some people will love that world. Socialists, that's what they dream about all the time. No responsibilities. Daddy will take care of me. I don't have to do a thing.
I know so many people like that. It kind of makes you sick, you know. And you tell people what's going on, and it's like, well, what's wrong with that? You know, we're going to have a happy world. Oh, man. So I don't know. I like beating your head against the wall sometime. But so you think the next phase is they're going to lock up the patriots or anybody who resists and let the rest of the sheeple just keep on?
In the New World Order, patriotism will be considered to be a mental illness, and so will religious views.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm asking is you think that the rest of the people who go along with it will still, you know, be able to enjoy their little fun and games and whatever?
Oh, yeah. They may be relocated. They may be trained and given another job that they've never done before. Their standard of living is going to drop precipitously, although their level of entertainment will go through the roof.
Right.
You know, you keep people entertained, their brain rots. And that's what's coming. You can already see it. I know men who don't know anything in this whole world except who plays third base for the Mets, and they think that's a great achievement.
Yeah. And they get a lot of money for it, too. That's kind of sad.
Well, why do you think they get all that money? Why do you think Dan Rather and Ted Koppel get paid so much, and Barbara Walters?
Well, because they're keeping the sheeple in their place.
That's exactly right, and they won't buck the system because they'll lose it, won't they?
Yeah.
And why do they pay sports people as much as they do for playing a game that you played for nothing because it was fun, you know? Very simple. It elevates it to a high degree of interest among the sheeple who envy that amount of money. It's the same. It's the old Roman circus. It's the gladiators all over again. Thanks for calling. Remember, folks, these are old, vintage commercials, and I collect them. They're played for your listening enjoyment only. We do not endorse any of these products, nor are we suggesting that you go out and drink beer. It's just for entertainment. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm John from Detroit, Michigan.
Hello, John.
Hi. How you doing? The first time I just, heard your broadcast today and playing around with my little shortwave set, and I think you're great. And have you ever read the Operation Vampire Killer 2000?
Years ago, long before you ever heard of it.
Yeah, probably. I've been pretty much alone doing this, the New World Order stuff.
A lot of people have been, and they're discovering that they're not alone.
Yes, definitely. I found that tonight. Doing my own research and stuff. I go to all the gun shows and keep up with what's going on, and I think you're doing a great job. It's the first night I've heard you, but everything seems to be going...
Thank you. Actually, we're not doing anything tonight.
But you're touching bases on, some of the basic stuff.
Yeah, I'm just trying to rest my voice and give people a chance to talk about what they've been hearing or whatever else. So far, nobody's talked about what they've heard. I guess they're all dumbfounded or weren't listening, or maybe it didn't make the impact I thought it would. The first 8 episodes of the Treason series was just that, the first 8. We got a lot more to go, and wait till you see the documents when we publish them.
Could I have some addresses or phone numbers? Get some info?
Sure. The Research Center is 602-333-5174. That's 602-333-5174. Either myself or Carolyn will answer the phone if you call. If nobody's here, leave your name and number. Somebody will get back to you. The address, if you want to write, if you'd like an information packet, send a number 10 size, that's a business size envelope, number 10 size, self-addressed, stamped envelope with 2 29-cent stamps on it. 2 of them. Okay? To Post Office Box 1420. That's P.O. Box 1420. Sholo. It's spelled just exactly like it sounds, folks. It's 2 words. Show and low, and everybody learns those 2 words very young in life. Arizona 85901. That's P.O. Box 1420, Sholo, Arizona 85901. Right now, the fax number is 602-333-2174, and that's good to send faxes anytime that we're not on the air. When we're on the air, that number is the call-in number. Also, we have a computer bulletin board system that's offline right now. I'll be giving the number out as soon as we get the new software upgraded and get it back upline. Right now, if you call it, all you get is a screen that says call back when it's up. Does that help you?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Good. Thank you for calling.
Goodbye.
Another public service announcement from Brill Cream. Men, beware. Use 1 dab of Brill Cream. Just a little dab makes your hair look excitingly clean, disturbingly healthy. This man dared to use 2 dabs. Now he's in trouble. We refuse to be responsible.
Brill Cream, Brill Cream, Brill Cream. Brill Cream, a little dab will do ya. Brill Cream, you look so debonair. Brill Cream, the gals will offer to ya. Fill up to get your fingers in your hair.
Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello, Bill. This is Ron in Indiana.
Hello, Ron.
How are you this evening?
Good.
I'm glad to hear you're feeling better.
Oh, is this my Ron?
This is I'm McCatchy. Yes.
Okay, good.
I would like to mention a rumor that I've heard about what Winchester has done with their primers.
No rumors, thank you.
Okay, we'll do it then.
We do not participate in spreading rumors.
Okay.
I have heard the silliest, stupidest things circulating around this country, and I wish all of you would stop it. I'm not trying to chastise you personally. I'm talking to everybody.
I understand.
If you can't find verification for something, don't contribute to the problem by spreading it to other people. It really hurts everything.
Okay, well, I was going to question whether you'd heard it, but I won't even mention it then. I want to thank you for your treason series. I think that many of us knew already and felt that was the case, but this just smacks you right in the face. And anyone that will listen to that series, and believe me, the tapes are all over Indiana, and well, all over Texas now too.
Good. We haven't finished yet. We got a lot more to go.
But your first aid, we're dizzy, and we're looking forward to more. And we thank you. Thank you very kindly.
Great. And thank you for calling. And I understand that you're trying to be helpful when you wanted to tell us whatever it was you were going to tell us, but we just prefer that you don't. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Bill Cooper.
Hello.
I have a question, and the question is, when they prevented U.S. citizens from owning gold coins and started it up again in 1986, 1-ounce gold eagles and lower, I wonder why they let the U.S. citizens have the privilege of owning gold, and I don't believe that the government ever does anything for one single purpose, and I wonder what's behind it.
Well, I don't know. I think I don't know, to tell you the truth. I really don't. But it is in your best interest to own gold or silver coin if you can, in the smallest denomination that you can get, I can tell you that. I don't know why they did, and I'm not sure that they really did. In fact, from our research, the original executive orders are still in effect. And we're going to be covering that. I'm going to be reading verbatim from those executive orders right up through the years, and you're going to find out that things are a lot worse than you ever dreamed. Are you there?
Yes. Do you, may I personally ask you if you own gold and silver?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
I would never tell you to do something that I didn't do myself.
Well, that's true, yes. The smaller denominations are a higher price.
Might be a higher price, but if you go into a back alley to buy a loaf of bread and all you got's a $20 gold piece worth $500, that's what that loaf of bread's going to cost you, my friend.
I see. So you're even saying silver dollars would be better?
I'm saying dimes are the best of all. Silver dimes.
Is that junk silver?
1/10 ounce gold pieces. Smallest denomination that you can find.
Let me have you put a time frame on when you think they might be used.
Well, some people are using them already. That's how they get out of the system. I'll tell you something else. If you buy something with Federal Reserve notes, you don't own it. You buy something with gold, it's yours. I got to let you go because we're out of time, my friend.
Sure.
Folks, don't forget to call, stay tuned, listen later to the Hour of the Time, which will be broadcast again later tonight. It'll be a different show altogether. I'll be here, 9 Pacific, 10 Mountain, 11 Central, and midnight Eastern Standard Time. Good night, and God bless you all. I'm William Cooper, and you're listening to the Hour of the Time.
And I'm Carolyn Nelson. Welcome back, William Cooper.
Thank you, Carolyn. I want to thank you very much for all that you did to keep everything going and keep this show on the air while I was homesick. I appreciate that more than I can say. Let's go to Phoenix now to Gene Miller with the Metals Report.
Good evening, Bill, and again, welcome back. Glad to have you back in the driver's seat.
Thank you, sir.
Gold and silver and Dow has been up and down like a roller coaster the last few days. Gold had a high today of 384.80, a low of 378.80, to close at 378.90, down $7.70. Silver had a high of $5.38, a low of $5.23. Close at $5.23, down 18 cents. Dow had a high of 39.10, a low of 38.59 to close at 39.06, up 35 points. Some things that I've been reading, just some information that I shared with the first hour. One of these was his stock market bust and $500 gold. Evidence abounds for a topping off of the greatly overpriced stock market. In my experience, markets both up and down continue in a particular direction longer than seems rational. But with the change in direction for interest rates, the utility average, commodity prices and the advanced decline ratio, it appears that the boom in the financial markets is soon coming to an end. Gold is indeed in a bull market, and good times lie ahead for the gold bugs of the world. This was from the Reaper. The U.S. stock market is in a blow-off. While I'm looking for a top no later than March the 10th, there is an increasing number of quality analysts expecting stock market top in late January or February. Fed policy may turn negative, which would be bearish for stocks. Dow utilities have topped 220. Technical indicators such as advanced decline ratio are toppy. Sentiment has become excessively bullish. Those that are paying attention somewhat here, Friday we had a 100-point drop in the stock market due to the Fed raising the interest rate 1/4 of a point. Now the talk is that they're going to raise it probably an additional 0.75 to a total of 2 points. If we see a 100-point drop, folks, that was just a warning sign. That was a warning shot. Those of you that are in that stock market, for goodness sakes, you need to make some serious decisions. Quit looking at that like it's the almighty savior of the world. It's gonna eat you up alive. You've made a lot of money in it. Great. Take some of your profits off and protect yourself. But that was just a warning shot, I believe. I think we're going to see probably a 20 to 30% correction in the stock market. And folks, you need to wake up.
Gene, I got to break in here for just a second. You're talking about if they made profits, go ahead and take some of those profits. They didn't make any profits. They're getting ready to inflate the dollar, which is going to wipe out any profit they ever made.
That's absolutely correct. So I mean, it's kind of a hocus pocus trick of mirrors. Makes it look like they made a lot of money, but if they inflate the money and devalue it, well, it all gets washed out anyhow. And that's a nice thing when people say, why should I own gold? Because I can go back 100 years ago and I can buy 350 loaves of bread, I tell people, or a suit of clothes, or I can buy whatever. 100 years ago I can still buy the same thing today, and 100 years from now I can still buy the same thing with gold and silver. It does not lose its value. A while back we talked about how much the value of the dollar has dropped down to 9 cents as compared to what it was before this Federal Reserve was created back in 1913, and how the central banks have just literally raped and robbed the American people, making a handful of mostly Europeans rich off the hard work and sweat of the American people, and most of us have lost a great deal of. We think we've made some money, but in reality, like you say, Bill, we really haven't made anything. We've just been spinning our wheels if we've continued to put our money into their system.
Look at all the money people have said that they've made over these years, yet look at the standard of living of the middle class years ago, and look at it now.
Oh, it won't be long, Bill. The middle class will be a museum piece. There won't be a middle class.
That's right. And back in those days, we're talking about when just the man worked for the living. Period.
Yeah.
Now everybody in the family has to work, and they're barely paying their bills.
Very good. Yeah, exactly. They're why? I mean, it's so.
But life sure is better. We're sure making a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It kills me.
Takes 3 times the income now to barely make the bills.
Yeah.
So folks, we need to wake up. Like Bill says, quit being sheeple and take charge of your life. Give us a call. You know our number. It's 1-800-289-2646. Give us a call. Let us know that you're from Bill Cooper's Hour of the Time program. And we have some reports, some newsletters just coming out. Give us a call. We'll be glad to get that stuff out to you. But don't just learn what you should do. Do something. That's like learning how to use a machine gun and then let somebody come in and kill your family. Even though you know how to use that gun or how to protect yourself, use the knowledge that the people at Swiss America give you and put it to work for yourself. Because down the road, you believe me, it will make sense, and you'll be glad you did. Again, that's 1-800-289-2646.
Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again next Monday.
All righty.
I hope.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
And, folks, call now, 1-800-289-2646. Thank them for sponsoring the Hour of the Time. Mention my name, William Cooper. Ask them to send you all the written material and newsletters to which you're entitled as a listener to this program. Talk to them about what you need to do with your assets, and both of you working together, you should be able to come up with a good plan. Don't go away. I'll be right back, and it really is good to be back. Well, folks, I'm back, and I've got to take it easy with my voice. Can't strain it, or I'm going to lose it again. So I'm going to talk low and sweet and cool, and we're going to have some calls in tonight, but don't call yet. Please don't call yet. We had, after we did the show with Paul, who did a lot of the research for the Treason series, duplicating research that I had done years ago. And not just Paul, but several other CAGI members also. Paul, though compared to the rest, did the bulk of the work. We had some people call, and when this happens, it just exasperates me to no end. After listening to that whole interview with Paul, after listening to my exhortations during those 8 episodes of the Hour of the Time, somebody really had the audacity, not just one, but several people, had the audacity to call and say, well, we went down to the library and we couldn't find no 7277. I don't know what to do with people like that. It took Paul weeks to chase it down, and he had to do it through the interlibrary loan system, and we made the statement on the radio that night that, according to our most recent search, it existed in only 2 libraries in the nation. How can anyone listen to this program, listen to that, and then make that kind of a statement? How do they even have the guts to call us and do that? Because I'll tell you, if you're really smart, you know what I'm going to say to you. And if you're lucky, you'll get Carolyn, because she'll be a lot nicer, I can guarantee you. When I was at home tonight, between shows, a young man called from the state of Florida, and he's on the line right now. I think this is him. And he told me what he has been able to do since listening to these last 8 nights of the Treason series. So if this is him on the line, I want him to tell all of you how it's done. Are you there?
Oh, this is Lester Dahlberg of El Dorado, Texas.
Lester, did you hear me say don't call? You see what I mean, folks? I know Lester was listening to the radio, and I know he heard me say don't call yet. I'm expecting a call from this young man. But old Lester just had to call. So, I don't know. If he was trying to get through, he may have given up. We'll see. We're in the situation we're in because most of us have never used our brains in our entire life. And I was guilty of that for most of my life, I can guarantee you. But I'm awake now. I learned some things when I was a member of the Office of Naval Intelligence. I learned some things when I was fighting the war in Vietnam. I began a program of research, and I have awakened. That doesn't mean that I can't be taken for a fool again. If somebody comes up who's a lot more clever than I am, they might be able to trap me again in some of these things. But I try not to let it happen. And I certainly, ladies and gentlemen, don't believe anything anymore from anybody for any reason unless I can prove it in my own research. And doesn't look like, Lester was on hold for a while. He may have tried and given up. But let me tell you what he told me. He said that when he began listening to the Treason series, he went down to the library with a couple of friends of his and began looking for the documents that we were citing. He says he now has in his possession a copy of every single document that we cited during those 8 days and many more. In fact, he said that just yesterday he copied 600 documents. 600 documents, all confirming and elaborating upon the treason that has occurred in this country the fact that we are a vassal state of a United Nations, the fact that the Constitution no more applies, and that he was absolutely amazed that none of it is hidden, just like I told you. I wonder how many more of you have done that. I know that most of you didn't lift a finger. You listened to our program. You probably went around telling people about it, but you did not in any way try to verify it for yourself. And I'm telling you, unless you get out of those lazy habits, nothing is going to change. Ladies and gentlemen, we are right now standing upon the brink of the greatest change that the world has ever known. We have an opportunity to make a better world. I started out trying to save the Constitution. It can't be saved. It's already gone. The best we can hope to do is restore it. It has built-in flaws, however, that have allowed us to reach this point, along with the ignorance, the apathy, and the stupidity of the American people. We, the good people of this country and of the world, because I am talking to the world, my goal has always been to say freedom for the world. You see, to me, patriotism is loyalty to an ideal, to a moral code, not to a flag, not to a country. Countries can start out good and go bad. Countries' geographical limitations can change. You will never see me with a bumper sticker that says, my country right or wrong. I'm going to follow the right always, and if my country is wrong, I will divorce myself from it. That is a real patriot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can either allow those who have power in this world to enslave the human race and bring about their utopian 1,000 years of peace, as they call it, or we can learn to understand that we can be and should be the arbiters of our own fate. We can make this a better world based upon the responsibility of the individual. The world is approaching a point, ladies and gentlemen, where individuals who cannot be decent human beings just simply should not be here. Now, I know that sounds radical, but it's the absolute truth. Everyone is responsible. Everybody. There is no excuse for criminals. There's no excuse for murderers. There's no excuse for greed. There's no excuse for this tremendous thirst for power that people seem to have to accumulate more and more and more until everyone around them must be their slave. There's no excuse for all of the American people for allowing us to reach this point. There's no excuse for my having spent most of my life in ignorance and stupidity. And there certainly is no excuse for you living your life in that manner either. We get calls all the time telling us that we shouldn't talk to people the way we do. And maybe they're right. Maybe we shouldn't. You see, I've tried to reach out and shake you, wake you. I've tried to smack you with a verbal 2x4. For several years, I tried to drip with honey and was just as nice to everybody that I met as I could be. With the result that I got smacked around and taken and destroyed, almost. We found ourselves in the gutter with no friends and no money and no prospects. Simply because I believed and tried to treat everybody as if they had some brains and would reciprocate the kindness that we gave out to them in like kind, and it just wasn't true, folks. I have learned not to have any sympathy for ignorance, apathy, or stupidity. in myself, in my family, in my associates, or in you. I've just about run out of methods to jerk your chain and make you come to life. I don't really know what else to do, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue to try. And I know many people are waking up. And with the documentation that we give and the bibliographies that we give and the history that we give, it makes it easy for you. But only if you get up off your butts and go out and verify or prove it wrong. If you do neither, you cannot complain, you cannot judge. In fact, you don't even have any right to comment, for you are not part of the solution and never will be. You are the problem. You are the whole problem, 100%. If you don't like that, my only advice to you is go to bed, pull the covers up over your head, and stay there until this is all over. Because you're going to get hurt. Let's open the phones now. Lester, I love you, and we've talked several times, and you send mail all the time, but I wish you hadn't have done what you did tonight. Number 602-333-2174. 602-333-2174. I'd like your comments on what you've heard during the last 3 weeks. I'd like to hear from people who went out and at least attempted to verify the information that we gave. If you found information, then we certainly do want to hear from you. 602-333-2174. I don't even... Let's find out here. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Hi. I'm excited. The first time I got on there. I've had the State Department's 7277 for a while. I got it from Senator Kennedy himself. A friend of mine interned for him on his staff, and I was in Washington, D.C. last semester and got it. So I'm excited that you continue this series on the Constitution with further documentation. I've ridden my bike over the last couple of weeks about 15 miles on weekends to get to a library that's got the congressional records and other records, so I've been looking those up and checking things out. And for anybody who's young, around 21, you can do it too. You don't have to be a top genius or anybody or anything to do it. It is possible. I've called up the Olympian in Washington in order to get Richard Whitmire's article on Jason to check up what you wrote on your book on this subject. I haven't gotten it yet, and I'm incredibly impatient to get it.
Wait a minute. Probably the only people who know who you're talking about when you say Jason is me and you and maybe 6 other people out there. Why don't you tell our listening audience what Jason is?
Jason is spelled in capital letters. There's the Jason Society and there's Jason Group of Companies, I believe, kind of like a scientific research group along the lines of the Manhattan Project. In the Office of Naval Intelligence that Mr. Cooper was in for the Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, he discovered the so-called UFO phenomena, and there were 2 possible outlooks for explaining the UFO phenomena. One, they were actual alien craft from outer space, and the Jason Group was formed of the highest people from the mystery religions and from the Council on Foreign Relations in order to deal with the problem. The other outlook was that man actually came up with the technology to build the UFOs, and that the Jason Group, also known as the Order of the Quest, was formed in order to deceive mankind into believing that the technology was being used to scare mankind into building a one-world government. I haven't been able to verify everything. I'm still working on it by calling the Olympian, but I'm working on it.
Well, you sure are working on it, and you show a grasp of what's happening and the groups that are bringing it about and the possibilities that are way beyond. How old are you anyway?
I'm 21, going on 22.
Yeah, no, you're 21, going on about 46, my friend, and I love it.
I call Carolyn once in a while. Hi, Carolyn.
What state are you from? Tell everyone again.
I'm from California. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm jealous of the CMF Constitutional Militia Force formed north of me. I'm going to try and contact them on the BBS network on computer. I'm moving to Sacramento soon and hope to do something up there. I hope there's Kaji members up there, and I'm coming if you're there. Get a modem. I'll have one soon. What else is good? Oh, I was going to try and go to law school, and whatever fate or God has pushed law school back another semester for me, so that I can further devote time to researching the New World Order and how to witness to those around me that we need to fight hard. I wanted to go to law school in the fall, but that was pushed beyond my reach due to circumstances of screw-ups. A part of the law.
We all screw up.
So I'm going to take that and do the best with what I can with my time, so that in the end that I will and my friends will have done their best to preserve the liberty and freedom that God has given us.
Fantastic. I want to thank you for calling, and I want to congratulate you on your efforts and for your ability to think.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're indeed a rare bird. Thank you for calling. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, this is Mike from the Chicago suburbs. I just wanted to say that since your program started on the treason documents, I've been able to verify almost all of the documents that you have talked about. I haven't gotten the actual document 72, 77, and I have on interlibrary loan right now our foreign policy. But let me tell you guys out there that this stuff you can get in your libraries through interlibrary loan. You can get this stuff easily, and you can do this stuff. It doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that much time, and you can do all this stuff. All the stuff he's talking about is true, and you guys need to wake up out there. You guys need to get yourself armed, start your militia groups now, legally, and you have to arm yourself right now because these documents prove that they can take our guns and everything away right now, guys. So we have to wake up and get ourselves armed, get ourselves prepared for this stuff.
Yeah, according to the law and treaties that have been passed and the United Nations resolutions, it's all over. It's been over for many, many years. They have been very reluctant to let the people know. They're indoctrinating us into the new order slowly, so that they hope there will be no uprising, no armed uprising against them. I don't think that their dream is going to be realized.
Yeah, I think, and another thing you were talking about earlier is a lot of the Christian groups and the churches just being asleep to all these things. This is one of the things that I'm working on right now through a lot of the churches and the church groups, specifically my church. They're one of the churches that teach. They aren't really into a lot of New World Order things, but I'm really challenging these people to get this word out, to start forming groups and start doing talks, to get this stuff out and saying that, tell them that our Constitution is gone, that we have to wake up, we have to tell the people, as many people as we can, as soon as we can, we got to tell them to get themselves armed And in the process of right now to try to get as many people to start this militia group. I haven't had too many people to get involved with it yet, but I'm not going to stop, and I'm just trying to start the militia groups right now and just trying to wake people up. And guys, just wake up. This information's out there in your libraries. You can get interlibrary loan. Bill's giving you the quotes. Go get the tapes. All the information's out there. It doesn't take that much time. Go out there. Make the time. You can make the time. It doesn't take that long.
I've got to interrupt you here because it's time for our break, and we can't go past this time without taking it.
Okay.
I want to thank you. You've done a wonderful job, and everybody else out there can do it. I've given you the ammunition that we need. We are within the law. They are the law breakers. And you want to know why they haven't hauled me off? Because I have the evidence, you see. I will present it in a court of law, and they will not allow that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short pause. That didn't take long at all, did it? Okay, folks, the number is 602-333-2174. If you've done any research, if you've come up with any of the documents that we've talked about, please give us a call. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hi, Bill. This is Mark from Los Angeles.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Good. How you been?
You know how I've been.
I haven't talked to you in a little while, but I just wanted to let you know that now that we're on the subject of the disarmament here, I went to a gun show last weekend in Anaheim, and on one of the podiums they had, the Christian Patriots bookstore, they had a flyer here that I think you read, furnished by Bernadine Smith on April the 6th on the Hour of the Time. This is an exact thing that you read on that show from Bernadine Smith, and I just wanted to tell you that it's good that this information is getting out there for people.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And I also finally found a library. I don't want to say exactly which one on the air, but there's a library around here where I'm able to get the blueprint for the peace race.
Wonderful.
And just want to let people know that it's out there. And keep up the good work, Bill.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye.
Thank you for calling. 602-333-2174 is the number, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say, folks, that these are vintage commercials. I collect them and we play them for your entertainment only. We do not endorse any of these products, nor do we recommend that you buy any, nor do we recommend that you don't. I just thought you might enjoy hearing them. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hi, Mr. Cooper.
Hello.
I'm going to my library and doing research, and I began to find some of the stuff you're talking about. I've been listening to WWCR for a few months now, and you're the only one with the balls to come on and say, don't believe me, look it up yourself. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. That's the only way to do it. And that's the reason we're in the position we're in now, is because we've been believing what everybody's been telling us all these years instead of finding out for ourselves.
And it is there. It's amazing. The UN stuff is just unreal. I found where Khrushchev recommended a world peace under a nuclear umbrella in like 1961. It's amazing.
Yeah, and we've been operating in concert with the Soviet Union. That's why all those years of the Cold War, we never had a clash directly with the Soviet Union.
Amazing. I think Friday's front page of our local paper was just, it was frameable. A Russian was going into space with us, and it said Clinton renewed ties with Hanoi. And I wish I could take that back to 1972 and show it to somebody. They would lock me up.
Yeah, they would.
Leave it.
It probably would have been me that locked you up, too. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. 602-333-2174, folks. I'd like to hear from you tonight about what you've been hearing. I'd like to hear from people who have gone out and looked for these documents and found them. If you didn't, that's okay. We'd still like your comments on what you've heard over the past 3 weeks. Has it surprised you? Has it shocked you? Are you ready to do something now? What's it going to take? Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Mr. Cooper. It's an honor to be on your show. I just wanted to share with you a story that I heard on the radio recently on Radio Canada, having read your book and listened to your show for a few months now. I thought you might find it interesting about the whole idea of sheeple. And if you've been ill, perhaps you haven't caught it. But apparently, in East Germany now, there is a whole fashion and nostalgia for the sort of Stalinist communist era, and people are actually there building a theme park where you pay money to go into for 14 days and endure the rigors of a totalitarian lifestyle. And if you try to leave before 14 days, you're put in solitary confinement. So it really, truly does support your idea of the sheeple, and that people there are actually willing to pay money to experience such a thing.
Isn't that amazing?
I thought you would enjoy that story.
Well, I don't enjoy it, but I'm certainly glad that you... I never enjoy hearing about things that mean that people maybe don't deserve the freedoms that they have, because it means that maybe those who want to control us might be right, and I don't want them to be right.
You bring up difficult issues. I am familiar both with the political material you've talked about and also the esoteric material, and encountered your show one night by accident. You put those two things together, and that particular night you were doing the genealogy of George Bush.
Right.
And I was falling asleep listening through headphones, and I sat up straight in the bed and said, "What frequency is this?" And I like it that you're dealing with hard things but keep an open mind. And I think that open mind is the essence of all the freedoms. And thank you for sending that out over the radio waves.
Well, thank you for calling, and thank you for that compliment.
Okay.
And I'm glad you were able to relay that story to us, because it just drives the point home even more. When you look through history, you can see examples of this, I mean, all the way back. It's just absolutely amazing. It always amazes me. It never fails. And people say, well, I bet I couldn't surprise you, but they always do. Good evening. You're on the air.
About 5 years ago, I met someone that was also employed by the Office of Naval Intelligence in NATO. And he told me things that were similar to some of the things you discussed on your show. And I've checked out some of them, and they've turned out to be true. One thing that does concern me, though, is that when people talk about starting militias, they should spend some time at their library and study what the communists did and how cells were set up and the security of information of members and information. Because if this does happen, you'll be dealing with a country that's had a lot of experience in this type of warfare. I would hate to see people just get massacred.
Well, I would too. I can't tell. I don't have the time nor the resources to tell people how to go about it. I've given them the points of law and the references to look up the law concerning the militia, and they're going to have to take it from there. I am active in the militia here, as are many of my neighbors, and in fact, most of the people in this state, I believe, are in one way or another active in a militia organization, unbeknownst to the majority of the officials, as it always is. They're the last to find out. So I'm taking care of my end of business, and I just have to trust and hope and pray that everybody else out there is taking care of their end.
Well, there are good books in the library that have been written since World War II and before that describe the operation of guerrilla warfare and how to deal with the type of problems we'll run into. Anyone who just runs into this blindly, they will be certainly hurt quite bad.
Well, we have a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of us who have fought in the war and know how to short-circuit some of the mistakes that some people are going to make. But there's a lot of people who haven't, and they're going to make some of those mistakes. That's just human nature, and hopefully they'll learn from them.
Well, I give you credit for having scared the bejeebers out of me. That's one thing that you have done, and you've made me think a lot. And sometimes it's painful. It's like learning anything. You have to.
Nobody ever throughout history has ever wanted to hear the truth.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that people spend as much time at the library looking into some of these other subjects as well as verifying your information. That's just what I wanted to say.
Well, it's a point well made, and I thank you for making it.
Okay.
And thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
602-333-2174 is the number if you'd like to get your 2 or 3 or 4 or 28 cents or however many cents you have to put in. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
You're on the air.
My name is Larry. I'm in San Francisco, California.
My name is Ajax. Glad to meet you.
Are you stronger than dirt?
I hope so.
What I wanted to bring to your attention, Mr. Cooper, was over the weekend, Dr. LaHaye, Beverly LaHaye, wife of Dr. Tim LaHaye, who is pretty mainstream Christianity, had a program called Concern Women for America on the weekends on one of our local Christian stations. She had on there a gentleman by the name of Gary Carr, who has written a book called Towards a One World Government.
Yes, in that book he verified a lot of what I've revealed on this program. He also verified something I wrote in my book that I thought nobody would ever verify, and that was the Nixon coup.
And it's what kind of, in a way, it surprised me. I came out of the mainstream church mainly because I was seeing a lot of the hypocrisy, and went to work for the phone company, which lives on hypocrisy. But anyway, I was very surprised to hear Dr. LaHaye saying a lot of the same things that I've been hearing on your show, and I was very happy to hear that it sounds like they are beginning to wake up a little bit.
Well, I certainly hope they are. Most of the organized churches are gone at the highest levels. They're actually working with the World Council of Churches to combine them into a new world religion where the religion will change with the needs of man rather than man live his life according to the laws of God. And man himself in this new religion will become God.
Right, and this was what I was beginning to see. I was in the ministry for several years, and I saw this in 2 denominations that I was a part of, and I bailed out, fortunately, before things got really as bad as they are now. A lot of the people that I thought would never bend in that direction have sold out lock, stock, and barrel. But the organization that Dr. LaHaye heads up is actually offering this book over their program. So she, like I said, it really did surprise me.
I recommend that everybody get it and read it.
Yes, it is an interesting book based on just the lecture that he had over the air. And I have already ordered it through Concern Women for America.
I was so thankful for him because in my book I had revealed that there was actually a coup in the White House that ousted Nixon, that he did not resign willingly, nor was there enough evidence against him to actually find him guilty in an impeachment trial. And I don't believe that Congress would have pushed it that far anyway, although there was a lot of public pressure to do that. And I revealed the whole outline and everything that happened in the Nixon coup and exactly why he left the White House. And I was ostracized, but Gary Carr verified this from a completely different avenue, but again, through military intelligence, through Army intelligence, and I was in the Office of Naval Intelligence. And it really took some pressure off of me, so I was very grateful to him for writing that book.
Well, I was first introduced to your work by a friend of mine who handed me a copy of Behold the Pale Horse, and I sat down, and once I started it, I couldn't stop reading it. And I would like to thank you for putting that work out. It was absolutely amazing. And I did do quite a bit of research living here in San Francisco. I have access to quite a bit of resources, plus working in the computer department of the local Bell Operating Company, I have other access as well. And if anybody is out there that has any shred of doubt, get off of your rear ends and take a look, and just even a cursory look at some of the references will prove everything and more is true.
Wonderful. Excuse me, folks. I'm very sorry for that. I usually bring down the pot, but that sort of caught me off guard. I want to thank you for calling and for the information that you provided us.
Thank you.
Also, folks, you might be interested. Pastor Pete Peters is getting ready to come out with a book confirming everything that I have been telling you about Lieutenant Colonel James Bogreitz. I have nothing to do with Pastor Pete Peters. We talked on the phone, I think, maybe twice in my whole life for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Unless he listens to this broadcast, he knows nothing about what I said, and seems to have put this together from his own research, from his own end, and he will be revealing this pretty soon. Also, we're getting reports from around the country from people who have attended spike training conducted by Lieutenant Colonel James Bogreitz and his so-called lieutenants are being raided, their papers are being taken, and their arms are being confiscated, and this is happening in many places across the country. We have confirmed it. We have refrained from putting out any announcement of this kind until we could confirm it, but we've been getting these reports for the last 3 weeks. We have confirmed it as of yesterday, and there is no doubt that this is happening, and we warned you about this a long, long time ago. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Bill. This is Greg from Orange County, California.
Hello, Greg.
Hey, I've got a black helicopter report. Where I live, I'm around, and forgive me for my nervousness, where I live, I'm around the El Toro Marine Base and the Lighter-Than Air Base in Tustin, and I've been in this area for 20 years, and then some. Lately, I've noticed that all the previous green marked helicopters, consequently, they're all painted black now, every single one of them. And where I work, I'm outside constantly. I've not seen any standard green military helicopters that I've grown up seeing all my life in this area. So it's kind of nerve-wracking. I got all the guys at work now looking up in the sky and noticing it too, but it's kind of interesting what's going on.
Yeah, it is.
I've been a long-time listener, almost from the beginning of your show, and I've learned a lot. A lot of my family thinks I'm nuts, but I've been fortunate to be able to catch you on shortwave and be able to listen to it, mainly because I don't own a boob tube, which is, I think, is most of the society's problem.
No, it's not most of it, but it certainly is part of it.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for calling.
I appreciate it. All you've done.
Thank you. And for the information, we appreciate that. 602-333-2174. By the way, folks, I want to reiterate a need that we expressed a long, long time ago, and I should have been expressing it all along. When I was at Freedom Call 90 in Las Vegas, I heard Bobo Gritz admit that he was a 32nd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite. I also heard him say that in 1989 on the Billy Goodman happening on KVEG radio in Las Vegas, where Billy Goodman was asking him what his history was, what he belonged to, and he said that he was a Freemason. And Billy said, why don't you tell me about that, Bo? I don't know anything about Freemasons. And he talked for about 3 or 4 minutes about his membership in that organization. After he found out what I had written in my book and what A. Ralph Epperson had written in his book, The New World Order, he denied that he had ever been a Freemason or that he had ever said that he was a Freemason. And I know that that's not true because I heard him on 2 occasions with my own ears along with a lot of other people. So this would probably be on tapes in the 1989 or 1990 genre. So if you have tapes, either audio or video, of any of Bogreitz's speeches from 1989 or 1990, I would like for you to go through those tapes and listen to them carefully. Because, folks, I really mean this. I will pay $500 to the first audio or videotape for the first audio or videotape that is delivered into my hands where Bogreitz says in his own voice that he is a Freemason or was a Freemason, in any type of language or wording whatsoever where it is clear and there is no mistaking. So make sure that you understand that it's $500. The phone number here is 602-333-5174. Our mailing address is Post Office Box 1420, Sholo, Arizona. Sholo is spelled exactly like it sounds. 2 words, show and low. Sholo, Arizona, 85901. Phone number, 602-333-5174. The address is Post Office Box 1420, Sholo, Arizona, 85901. I'm a man of my word. If you can deliver an audio tape or a videotape where he makes that statement in his own voice, we know that he was doing it in 1989 and the first half of 1990. I will deliver into your hands 500 Federal Reserve notes. And you better spend them quick because they're going to lose their value quick. Okay, I think we got somebody on the air line here. Good evening, you're on the air.
Good evening, Bill. It's good to have you back again.
Thank you.
I want to confirm a couple things that were said tonight. First of all, in regards to the Nixon coup and the put-down of that, that was also in William T. Still's book, New World Order, The Ancient Plan of Secret Societies. And that's by Huntington House Publishers. Second of all, I am calling from the Los Angeles area, and the gentleman that was on just a little bit earlier had talked about how he had seen helicopters at military bases. Well, I was out by March Air Force Base, and I had seen 5 large military helicopters flying right over I-91, and they were flying westward, and from my view, it looked like they were completely black, but I saw mostly the front and undercarriages, and so it just went, they're all black, and it did make me wonder as to what their intentions were, because it was like they were flying in a formation that kind of made me wonder, I guess. And I've been listening to your show for about a year and a half, and I've told these fellow patriots of mine who meet at a meeting here in Los Angeles about your program. And we have approximately 200 people or so that regularly attend the meetings and at various levels of understanding regarding the situation at hand, and I was trying to form a militia among them. I was going to ask for suggestions from you as how to best do that. So I'll just go ahead and let you go and let you answer that, if you would, please.
Well, I don't have time to answer it tonight, but we're going to have a leader of one of the state's militia units on the air sometime in the near future, who will explain how to organize a unit, what kind of equipment each man needs to have, or woman, as the case may be, what kind of, he's just going to go through the whole thing, and we'll probably do 2 hours on just that subject. So if you can just hold your horses until then, he's the expert, he's a leader, I'm a follower.
Okay, do you have an idea of sorts as to how soon these militias should be formed? I know we should do them ASAP.
Should have been done a long time ago. It's almost too late, my friend.
Do you have any dividing line on that? Do you know approximately?
A long time ago. Do you understand?
Yeah. We as American citizens have been asleep for way too long.
That's right. We should have never disbanded any of our militias.
What's interesting is somebody else had called on your earlier program and had discussed about how there are firearms that just aren't available that much anymore, and how even at the gun shop just can't get some of the basic things.
That's right, so you better get moving. We're running out of time. In fact, we got to go. I want to thank you for calling. I'm sorry to have to cut you off, but we just don't have any time left.
Well, God bless you, Bill. Keep it up.
You too. And folks, really, come on, get up, get organized, get moving. God bless you, and good night.